Hi everyone, and thank you for coming today. My name is Cody Moore. So, how many of you enjoy watching football? If I had to guess, it's most everyone. Everyone enjoys football season when it comes around. I mean, even if it's just going and watching your favorite player, listening to the band, watching the cheerleaders, the concession stand food, whatever. It's just a good time of the year. But the big question comes, which one do you like more, college or NFL football? I personally believe that NFL football is way better than college football because of how the rules are different. There's a lot better competition in the NFL. The playoff system in the NFL makes a lot more sense and is a lot more entertaining than in college. And in the NFL, you've got the NFL draft and you've got other entertainment to go on with it, such as fantasy football, Madden, etc. So for my first example, I'm going to get into how the rules differ in college and NFL. In the NFL, you've got specific jersey numbers for specific players. So for example, numbers 20 through 40 are for the running backs, while numbers 60 through 70 are for the linemen. So you're not going to go out there and have a player wearing number 60 and think that he's a wide receiver or a quarterback. You know what position he plays. Well, in college, if you get out there, I mean, you could have a quarterback with a number 17 and also have a lineman with a number 17, and it just gets confusing. It makes it difficult to realize who plays what position. Another thing that's different between the NFL and college is that in the NFL, the length of the game, they're trying to get the game done with as fast as possible. They're not stopping the clock all the time, whereas in college, they are stopping the clock. So it just ends up dragging out and making it a long, boring game. I think there's even been a game that's went into 7 overtimes, and that's just ridiculous. No one wants to sit there and watch 7 overtimes. Another rule that I think is better in the NFL than in college is the feet in bounds. How many feet you have to have in bounds to consider it a catch. So in the NFL, you've got to have 2 feet in bounds, which makes sense because you run with 2 feet. You've got to have 2 feet in bounds to consider to make it a play. So if one foot goes out in the NFL, you're out of bounds. Well, in college, you've only got to have 1 foot in bounds for your catch, which makes no sense because you don't run around on one leg when you're running the ball. So why would you only need 1 foot in bounds to consider it a catch? Another thing that I think the NFL does better than college is overtime. In the NFL, you go out and you basically start the game back over. You flip a coin. You see who gets the ball, who's kicking where. You drive down the field, you score your touchdown, and if you don't, you keep playing. Well, in college, they start at the 25-yard line. It just makes no sense. In the NBA or in basketball, when you go into overtime, you don't just play half court. You still play the full court. So why would you only start at the 25? Another thing that I think the NFL does better than college is that there are no easy games. You're always going to have a good competitive game every day. You're not going to have number 3 playing someone that's not ranked from the middle of nowhere. It's always going to be a good competitive game in the NFL, and that's due to the NFL draft because in the draft you're able to pick your players based on what you need, which means that your team will always, more than likely always, be well-rounded. So you always have a good, well-rounded team, whereas in college, it's just people commit to where their favorite school is. So, hey, I went to Alabama, or Alabama's the best, so I'm going to go there because I want to, not because they need me or anything like that. And another thing that I think is big is that only 2% of college players go to the NFL, which means that half the time in college, you're probably not playing against anyone that's really good. So, for my third point is the playoff system. The NFL has a way better playoff system than college. The NFL has 32 teams and 8 divisions. So within the 8 divisions, all of the winners of the divisions go to the playoffs. Plus the 4 wild cards from each division, from the teams who have the best record. So in total, you have 12 teams that end up playing for the Super Bowl. which makes it a lot more interesting. Well, in college, you've got 129 different teams, and they only take the top 4. So, I mean, if you think about it, that's a lot of teams who don't ever make the playoffs. It's just not as entertaining to watch. And you've got, most of the time, the same teams making it into the playoffs and winning the Super Bowl, or not Super Bowl, the national championship. So, for my last point, I would like to talk about the entertainment aspect of the NFL. The NFL's just got a lot more things to go along with it than college. Fantasy football is one of those. It kind of keeps you in the football mood outside of football season. You're keeping up with who's going where, who should I draft next year, is this player going to be hurt, is he going to be healthy? And you've got Madden, which is one of the best games of all time. So it just kind of allows you to keep up with your team and just kind of keep you in the mood during the off season. Speaking of the off season, you've also got training camps, which allow you to go and watch your favorite team practice during the preseason. So you're able to go and scout your team basically and just see how good they're going to be and kind of keep yourself entertained before football season even gets there, which is it's not in college. And also the NFL Combine is a big thing. You can watch all of the last year's top college players run their 40 time, get their high jump, just run their routes, just see what they look like and where they could go at the NFL level. In my closing, I grew up around a bunch of people who were college football fans. I grew up in a house with a bunch of people who loved watching college football. But personally, after I played football in high school, I kind of learned basically not to like the game because I live in this state, but for the actual game itself, how it's played, just stuff like that. So that is personally why I believe the NFL is better than college football. Thank you.